Let's be honest, money is weird. It's one of the only areas in life where someone with no formal education, no connections, and average intelligence can massively outperform someone with a PhD from Harvard, decades of experience, and a genius IQ. Think about it. You never hear stories about a janitor who secretly performs better heart surgery than a trained cardiologist. You never hear about a librarian who accidentally builds a better rocket engine than a NASA engineer. In those fields, knowledge and technical skill are everything. But in finance, it happens all the time. We hear stories of the unassuming person who lived quietly, saved consistently in boring index funds, and retired with millions. And then we hear stories of the high-flying investment banker, the person who understands complex derivatives and market theory better than anyone, who gets wiped out in a single downturn because they got greedy and took on too much leverage. Why does this happen? Why is the financial world so disconnected from raw intelligence? It's because we have been lied to. We have been taught that finance is a hard science, like physics or engineering. We think there are unbreakable rules, formulas to master, and data to crunch. We think if we just find the right spreadsheet, the right chart, or the right hot tip, the money will unlock. But money isn't physics. Money is psychology. Doing well with money has very little to do with how smart you are, and it has almost everything to do with how you behave. And behavior is hard to teach, even to really smart people. This is the invisible barrier to wealth. It's not the market rigging the game against you. It's not that you don't earn enough yet. The barrier is your own human brain, your emotions, your biases, your fears, and your desires. We're creatures of emotion, trying to operate in a world of cold arithmetic. And when those two collide, the emotions almost always win. If you feel like you're treading water financially, if you're stressed about the future, envious of others, or constantly tempted to get rich quick, you don't need a better calculator. You need a better understanding of your own mind. To break through this barrier, we need to understand a few fundamental truths about the psychology of money that they never teach us in school. The first major hurdle is understanding the difference between getting wealthy and staying wealthy. These sound like the same thing, but they are two completely different skill sets. Getting wealthy requires taking risks. It requires optimism. It requires putting yourself out there and swinging for the fences. You need to believe that the future will be better than the present to start a business or invest your savings. But staying wealthy requires the exact opposite. It requires paranoia. It requires a healthy dose of pessimism. It requires an acceptance that what you have earned can be taken away from you very quickly. Many people are good at the first part. They can make money. But they are terrible at the second part. They confuse a lucky streak with genius. They start to believe they're invincible. So when they make some money, instead of securing it, they double down. They take bigger risks. They upgrade their lifestyle too fast. And when the inevitable downturn comes, and it always comes, they get wiped out. To build lasting wealth, you need a barbell personality. On one side, you need to be optimistic enough to invest for the long term. On the other side, you need to be paranoid enough in the short term to keep a pile of cash for emergencies so you're never forced to sell your investments when they are down. You have to survive the short run to get to the long run. The second part of the invisible barrier is the most insidious, the inability to define enough. For many of us, the goalpost is constantly moving. You think, if I just made $50,000 a year, I'd be happy. Then you get there and you look around and your friends are making $75,000. Suddenly, your $50,000 feels like failure. So you strive for $100,000. You get there, buy a nicer car, and then realize your boss makes $200,000 and has a boat. This is the trap of social comparison. It's the fuel for greed. There is no faster way to destroy your peace of mind than to spend your life trying to impress people who probably don't even care about you. If you don't have a firm definition of what enough looks like for your life, not your neighbor's life, not the life you see on Instagram, but yours, you will never stop running. You will always feel poor, no matter how much you have. And here is the danger. The hardest financial skill is getting the goalpost to stop moving, because if you don't know what enough is, you will eventually take a risk that you didn't need to take to get money you didn't need to have, and you will lose the things you did need. You'll risk your security, your peace of mind, and your freedom just to get more. Knowing when you have enough isn't about settling for mediocrity. It's about realizing that the upside of more is no longer worth the downside of risking what you've already built. The final element of this psychological barrier is our relationship with time and patience. We are wired for instant gratification. If we're hungry, we eat. If we're tired, we sleep. But wealth doesn't work like that. Wealth is almost always the result of boring, unsexy compounding over very long periods. We all know who Warren Buffett is. He's arguably the greatest investor of all time. But here is a statistic that will blow your mind. Over 95% of Warren Buffett's net worth was accumulated after his 65th birthday. Think about that. He didn't get super rich because he was the best stock picker every single year. He got super rich because he started young and he never stopped. He let compounding do its thing for 3/4 of a century. Most of us don't want to wait that long. We want the 10-bagger stock that makes us rich by next Tuesday. We succumb to the action bias, the feeling that we need to be constantly buying, selling, trading, and doing something to manage our money. But in finance, usually the best thing to do is nothing. The best thing to do is shut up and wait. Patience is a financial superpower. If you can just be average for a very long time, you will end up with an extraordinary result. But if you try to be extraordinary every single year, you will likely blow yourself up. If any of this resonates with you, if you feel like your emotions are driving the bus when it comes to your money, then you need to change your operating system. You need to stop looking for the perfect mathematical formula and start looking in the mirror. The insights I'm sharing today come from a book that I believe everyone needs to read, whether you have $10 to your name or 10 million. The book is The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. This is not your typical finance book. There are no complex charts. There are no stock tips. It won't tell you how to analyze a balance sheet. Instead, it uses incredibly powerful short stories to teach you about the strange ways people think about risk, greed, and happiness. Morgan Housel is a master at explaining that financial success isn't about being a wizard. It's about not being a disaster. It's about survival. It's about knowing yourself well enough to put guardrails around your own behavior. So stop beating yourself up because you aren't a mathematical genius. Stop chasing the next big thing that promises overnight riches. Start defining what enough means to you. Start practicing the art of patience. The barrier to wealth isn't out there. It's in here. And once you see it, you can break through it. I'm Eve, and I'm learning right alongside you. Let's try to be a little less stupid with our money tomorrow than we were today. If you found value in this, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like. It really helps our community grow. And if you've read The Psychology of Money, let me know your biggest takeaway in the comments. I'll see you in the next episode.